Good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday morning. All right, moving on along through the week, and we'll see what happens in the Middle East and Washington and God knows what. But I want to talk about what a little closer to home again for all of us. Okay, how all this stuff is directly affecting us. Most of you guys have probably heard the term whales in your life, and I'm not talking about swimming out in the ocean. I'm talking about the guy that comes into the casino in Las Vegas and drops $1 million down on the table to play blackjack or roulette or whatever, right? Okay, you guys have heard that term. They're watched very closely by the casinos. Why? Because the casino could stand to lose a ton of money. You and I go in there with our $100 or $200 or whatever it is, and they're like, "Yeah, we're happy to take that, but whatever we take from you might pay the dealer for the night. That's it." But the whales are the important ones. And the whales, all of a sudden, are starting to get a little bit of attention in the financial markets. And this is very telling to what we should be watching. Okay. Y'all know back in July of 1944 what Bretton Woods was, right? Okay. It basically established the IMF, it established the dollar as the world reserve currency. It made the dollar and US treasuries the only tier one asset in the world, basically what they considered a riskless asset. So it was where every other country, company, whatever, would try to put money to get some sort of return without taking any risk, okay? Because the United States, full faith and credit of the U.S. always pays their bills, right? That was what we got. Well, fast forward to 2023, okay? And the IMF wants a new Bretton Woods, okay? And there's some other stuff that's going on that kind of slips under the radar, if you know. Go back to 2020, okay? Beginning of COVID. The IMF made something else a tier one asset: gold. Yeah. And we've talked about many times, you guys have probably seen not only on my channel, but news stories or other channels or whatever, that countries have been repatriating their gold and buying gold like crazy. With the exception of the United States, of course, we're idiots. Yeah, well, if you look on the COMEX, okay, the big players are always the banks and the hedge funds, okay, the commercial accounts, and then the governments, okay. Those are the big players. All of a sudden, in the last couple of years, we have a new player: the whales, the big money people, the well-funded, well-informed people, the billionaires who can afford a team of financial professionals, accountants, attorneys, CFPs, whatever, right? And they've been moving into gold. Where's the smart money going? Most of these people, I think, what is it, 89% of millionaires in the United States are self-made, okay? Believe it or not, there are very few rich people in the world that have inherited their wealth, that come from generational wealth, okay? Most of the millionaires and billionaires are self-made. And if you think about it, Jeff Bezos wasn't rich. His family wasn't. Oprah Winfrey's family wasn't. Warren Buffett's family wasn't. Bill Gates' family wasn't. But, Elon Musk's family wasn't. He's the richest man in the world. Okay. These people are all self-made. They don't do stupid things with their money. Okay. So it behooves us to pay attention to what those people are doing. And we have a tendency, the little guy, you and me, to do the opposite. Okay? I've said many times the fear of missing out, or the overall mentality in the investing world is, buy high, sell low. It's not the way you're supposed to do it, but that's what people do. Oh my God, Amazon went up $30 today. I need to buy. And as I've used the analogy all the time, it's like, oh, the store has something on sale this week, 30% off. Now wait till next week when it goes back to full price. That's how people invest. Okay. So while the whales are buying all the gold, buying all the silver, Joe Average is selling. Okay. I ran across some information. This was kind of the point to me doing this research on this story here. Not that you guys don't know that I followed financial markets quite closely. But what is going on? What is moving the markets? Okay, and obviously we know the value of the dollar causes gold or silver, platinum, palladium, whatever, precious metals as a whole. That's part of going up and going down. But the overwhelming majority of what causes the prices of anything to go up and down are buying and selling. Okay, capitalism. It works, guys. Millennials, hate to tell you this, communism doesn't work. Capitalism does. Nobody ever got rich in a communist system unless you were crooked. It's kind of why Joe wants us to be a communist system. Okay. But, so what's going on? Well, at the beginning of this year, gold was up, and people were selling their gold. Okay, whether it was gold coins, gold jewelry, whatever, because all the talk was, hey, we got to put the money in the stock market, right? Yeah, not necessarily the best idea. Now, 9 months later, as the throes of inflation keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse, people are still selling gold, which is pushing the price down a little bit, okay? But they're not selling it to put money in the stock market. They're selling it to buy their food, to pay their mortgage, to pay their car payments. People are taking whatever assets they have of value to sustain life. Okay? If you've ever seen a rich get richer and poor get poorer scenario, we're living in it. Okay? The people who have something of value are selling it to buy food. And the smart money is buying it while it's down. Now, is there manipulation in the gold and silver market? Yes, okay. And we know that banks have got busted for it, hedge funds have got busted for it, and everything. I'm not saying that's not happening. We all know it is. We all know that I think there's 11 times more silver contracts, paper silver, out there than there is physical silver. The big money, they're messing up the COMEX too. Because what are they doing? The same thing you and I are. They're taking physical delivery. So the rich are buying gold and silver and taking physical delivery. The poor, who are buying gold and silver, or investing in it, if you want to use that term, are buying the paper contracts. And they're going to get their ass handed to them. Okay. Now I want to give you this. And this is all the talk, like I said, at the beginning of the year. Oh my God, we've got to take the money out of gold and put it into the stock market. If you go back to New Year's Eve 2022, where gold closed 2022, where the S&P closed 2022, beginning of the year, hey, that might have been worthwhile. Year to date, okay, from January 1st to today, Gold is up 7.45%. Average return for that's the average stock market return historically. Okay. The S&P so far this year up 9.8%. Hey, great! You've made nearly 2.5% more money this year having your money in the S&P than having in gold. Okay, that's again diversity. So even let's say you were a little late and you got in the end of the first quarter, March 31st. Okay. Well, since March 31st, gold is up a whopping 0.4%. Okay. But the S&P is up 2.6%. So hey, you still made 4 times the returns on the S&P than you did on gold. But now let's see as things got a little more heated. Let's say you waited till June, till the end of the second quarter. Well, since June 30th, gold is up 2.4%. The S&P down 5.25%. There's a 7.5% difference. You either made money or lost money. Okay. Let's look at this month. Let's look at how gold ended and so the S&P ended at the end of September. Okay. I mean, was it 24 days at this point? Gold this month is up 6.35%. Yeah. Okay. The S&P this month down 1.66%. There's an 8% difference right there. That's a lot. Okay. You either lost 1 2/3% or you gained near 6 1/3%. Okay. Literally your entire year's average return is this month so far. Gold's up and people are selling to buy basic necessities rather than let it keep going. Gold is on a trend up. The stock market is now on a trend down. 9%, plus 2%, down 5%. You see where we're going here? Okay. Market returns are getting worse. Money is getting scarce. The rich are getting richer. The poor are getting poorer. Now, totally get that all of us can't afford to buy gold and silver. I mean, even if it's a couple of ounces of silver, $50, okay? That's not in some people's budgets. But what are you doing going forward? How are you protecting what you have? Because eventually, and I don't care if you have zero debt. If you own your house outright, you own your cars outright, you have no credit card debt, you have no student loan. If you do, cool, good. But you still have to pay taxes. You still have to pay electric. You still have to pay your phone, your internet, okay? You still have to buy food. Remember the Weimar Republic, when a wheelbarrow worth of money was what it took to buy bread. And the joke, which the guy left all his money outside as he went in the bakery, and I said, "Oh, gee, aren't you worried about somebody stealing your money?" He goes, "No, money I don't care about." He says, "I'm worried about somebody stealing a wheelbarrow." Okay, that's where we're getting. The Fed is not going to be able to raise interest rates to get us out of inflation. Inflation is because of the consumer. What the Fed's trying to do by raising interest rates is they're trying to get the consumer to stop buying. What are you buying now that you can stop buying? Gee, there's food inflation. Well, I'll just stop buying food. There's gas inflation. I'll just stop buying gas. There's inflation in your utility bills. Well, I'll just stop using electricity. The Fed can't control that because you still got to eat, you still got to go to work, you still want to keep the lights on. So the Fed is not going to be able to control that, which means inflation is going to continue to go up. And all this crap about Joe saying, oh, look, inflation's down. No, it's not. Okay? That's the biggest lie ever. You know, you go back to the peak of 2022, and inflation was at 9% over where it was in 2021. So again, you talk about $1,000, or let's say $100. Okay, $100 in 2021. It now took 109 in 2022 to still buy the same thing. Okay. Oh, but now inflation's at 4%. Okay, that's not 4% from that original 100. That's 4% from that 109. Okay, so now it takes $14 in 2023 to buy what $100 bought in 2021. It's inflation is still going up. How they manipulate the numbers, don't worry about it. Your dollars are worth less. Y'all know that. You go into the grocery store and everything costs more. The dollar store now costs you $1.25. You get it. Okay, that's 25% inflation right there. Okay. And the official figures are bullshit. We all know that. But how are you going to protect yourself? How are you going to hedge it? All right. You've all heard the story about buying a suit in the 20s or buying a car in the 60s, you know, with however much gold. Okay. And that's accurate. The same thing now. If 1 ounce of silver will buy you, I don't know, what's 5 pounds of ground beef. Let's just say that. Say ground beef is $5. Okay. If 1 ounce of silver will buy you 5 pounds of ground beef today, 10 years from now, when we've had, 1 year from now, when we hit hyperinflation, which we know is coming, when ground beef is now $20 a pound, the reason you're holding silver is because now silver should be about $100 an ounce, and that 1 ounce of silver will still buy you 5 pounds of ground beef. Except you bought that 1 ounce of silver at $25, and now it's $100. That's what you're looking at. That's what's going on. People are selling at the wrong time, buying at the wrong time. I know people are going to say, oh, gee, but silver's up. You know what? Silver and gold's still under $2,000 an ounce. No problem. Okay. Silver is, let's see, where did silver close last night? Silver's still under $23 an ounce. Spot. Okay. Not including premium. Yeah. Still accumulate. Well, everybody else is selling. That's when you want to buy. Go back to, remember the movie Trading Places, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy? At the very end, buy, sell, sell. Okay. They were buying when everybody else was selling, and they were selling when everybody else was buying. And at the end of the movie, who came out wealthy and who came out broke? Don't do what the public does. This is not the time to be taking your gold chain into the pawn shop and saying, hey, will you give me $30 for it so I can pay the electric bill? No, this is the time to be getting that and saving yourself like the rich people are. Because if you want to be rich, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be okay, you do what the smart money does, not what the dumb money does. Pinball out.